The cold winter weather is coming, and the team at Peerless Boilers, they're ready to help you prepare for this season. It's time to make sure your home is nice and warm for the cold weather. Save loads of money on your fuel bill. Do it now before it's too late and you've got a mess on your hands. Start thinking about replacing your old beast of a boiler with a new high-efficiency Peerless Boiler. Go to peerlessboilers.com, pop in your zip code, and you'll find a dealer near you. Remember, Peerless Boilers, the world's best-built boilers, and proud sponsor of Sid and Friends in the Morning, live from Israel.
This is John D'Agostino with D'Agostino and Associates, the injury firm, and I'm proud to be a sponsor and partner of WABC Radio and Sid and Friends in the Morning, live from Israel. God bless America.
I'm attorney Jenna D'Agostino, continuing the legacy my father, John D'Agostino, started 35 years ago.
I grew up on these New York and New Jersey streets. They shaped me. I'm attorney John D'Agostino from D'Agostino and Associates, the injury firm.
Call our team first.
888-24-LAW-24. 888-24-LAW-24. D'Agostino. Law Bite Back.
Entertaining and informative.
This is Sid and Friends in the Morning.
77 WABC.
I think you're going to win New York. Now, I know you put Lee Zeldin on the job. You've got me. You said all these nice things about me. You've got me forever. Right. Nobody loves you more than I do, trust me. Yep. You got Zeldin. You got me. You got all these great Congress people out on Long Island. You got Blakeman. I think you're going to win New York.
Yeah. Well, if we win New York, it's over. If we win any of these, we've got New York and New Jersey. I'm going for them big. Virginia, we're doing really well. I think it's tied. Virginia's tied already, and I haven't really made the move that much. New Jersey, we're doing very well. Look, if you go by enthusiasm, I rode through New York the other day. I used to go through, because I'm conservative. Again, I'm common sense. I'm not really conservative. I'm common sense. I feel like doing the thing that's right. There's usually one thing that's right. And these guys don't know that. They have no idea what they're doing. No days off. Somebody said, how are you going to rest? I said, rest. I got 30 days. I'm not resting. But it was beautiful. The other night was so beautiful. I'll tell you what, in Butler, PA, the crowd was the biggest, and it was also the best. These are great people. These are the people that built the country. I'll tell you, they built the country. Yes. And those people were there, and you couldn't have kept them away. And you are doing great. Your show is great, and we want to win New York, Sid. So you'll be in charge of it. We can. I think we're very close.
I'm going to get it done.
So
I'm going to get it done.
You get it done.
Yeah, we're going to do it. I'm going to get it done for you. How about that? That was 9 days ago. I was doing the show from Sderot, a community by the Gaza border, on October 7th. President Trump called in on October 7th, and you heard the conversation. Sid, you're doing great. You're going to get me in New York. And yet I'm still not speaking at the Garden. That's a whole other story. I don't want to bother Lara about this, but I am effing furious. I'm furious. This is ridiculous. The guy was here the whole summer for his court cases, had 19 events. Jason Miller called me once. And then Nassau Coliseum, nobody called me. Now they're at the Garden. Who's more in Madison Square Garden than me? None of these politicians. But, again, I don't want to bother Lara with this. Trump is doing very well here, and the map is looking very, very red these days. So with that said, and the Garden event coming up in about 10 days, my favorite Trump, I love her. Legitimately, I love her. She's Donald Trump's daughter-in-law and the co-chair of the RNC, my dear friend Lara Trump. Good morning, Lara.
Good morning. Sid, did I just hear that Donald Trump put Sid Rosenberg in charge of winning the state of New York for him? If so, I hope you're working hard. He put me in charge of North Carolina 9 years ago, and I won it twice for him. I got to win it one more time. So I hope you're getting to work in New York, because we're planning on winning New York, New Jersey, Virginia, Minnesota, maybe even New Hampshire, New Mexico. I don't know what could happen. I hope everybody out there listening is ready for a map as red as when Ronald Reagan won in 1980, because that is the trajectory. That's what we're going for. But everybody has to get out and vote.
No, I agree. Actually, and just so you know, Lara, the time before he was on this time, about a month ago, before this, he did the same thing. He said, Sid, I got Lee Zeldin on the job, but you got to get me in New York. So the last two times he's come on, he's asked me to do it, and I think we're going to come close. I think we are going to win it. But I think you're right. I think that the map is all red. Now, of course, the media is going to tell you that it's a very, very tight race, and, it could be anybody's win. But I'm starting to get the feeling that your father-in-law is about to win this thing with no concern. None.
Well, I'll tell you, we just got some really interesting polling yesterday. You know, traditionally, Republicans, conservatives do not like to early vote. We are usually election day voters, and we've pushed really hard from the Trump campaign, from the RNC, to say, hey, please get out and vote early all across this country, because here's what that means for us, Sid. If you go vote early, then we don't need to use our resources to turn you out to vote. We know you have your vote in, and we're going to try and leave you alone, but it allows us to then use our resources to get the low propensity voters out. These are people who vote conservative, but they don't vote every election cycle. They might vote every 3, 4, 5 election cycles. We get those people out, and the game is over. The whole thing is done. Donald Trump it's going to be a blowout win. We got some polling back from the battleground states yesterday. This was reported out there publicly, so I can talk about it. But it reflects the fact that right now in battleground states, it seems that Republicans are outpacing Democrats in early voting. I cannot speak to what a big deal that is and how historic that is. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the kind of energy we're going to take the next 20 days. And this is going to be the most epic comeback. You know, Donald Trump wrote The Art of the Deal. He also wrote The Art of the Comeback. Get ready for the greatest comeback in the history of America.
God, I love that. I do love that. I do. And just getting back to the Garden for 1 second, you know, the most famous arena in the world right there in Midtown Manhattan, New York City. And I know a lot of folks in this city give your father-in-law a bad time, whether it's the AG or the DA, and you had these morons who take his name off buildings and all that nonsense. But I got to tell you, Lara, New York is still Trump land. It is. And we love him here. And for him to be at Madison Square Garden, I spent a lot of days in there between the Rangers and the Knicks. Now we got the greatest champ of all. I think you said with John Catsimatidis and Rita Cosby, that night promises to be epic. I think you're 1,000% right. Trump at Madison Square Garden. How great is that?
Well, yeah, what is more epic than being in Madison Square Garden? I said this to them too, but anyone who's ever attended an event at MSG knows the energy that place, you know, gives off. Like, you go in there and, man, you know, you get a Rangers goal and people are going nuts and it is palpable. You can feel it into, like, every ounce of who you are. That is what Donald Trump evokes in people at all of his Trump rallies. You go to any Trump event, you feel that as well. So compound those two things together. This is going to be one for the ages on October 27th. It's going to be incredible. And I also think the fact that you see Donald Trump campaigning in these places where Republicans said never show up. He was in the Bronx. He was in Chicago. He's been in Detroit, Atlanta. He's coming to Madison Square Garden in New York City because Donald Trump is not afraid to ask for people's votes. He is going places where you've never seen him, and I think that means you are going to see him win places Republicans never traditionally win. I absolutely love it. I hope everybody's ready. And I know you've got a lot of people backing you. We want to see Sid Rosenberg up there speaking before Donald Trump. I'm putting in a good word for you, my friend. I promise you that.
Well, if you put in the good word, how could it possibly be no? You're Lara Trump. You run the RNC.
Something I don't know. Who am I, Sid?
Who are you? You're the co-chair of the RNC. You're married to Eric. I mean, you're a huge deal. I got to tell you this, and I mean this. I sent Lara. Okay, I'm going to give you some inside baseball. So I sent Lara a text on a Sunday morning a couple of weeks ago. I say, I just watched Maria Bartiromo. I said, oh, my God, if your father-in-law loses, which he's not going to do, he's going to win. But God forbid, he loses. Does that mean I can't talk to you anymore? Because we talk.
Never.
Never. You said never. But I do mean that. And you are a huge part of this campaign's success. And you're on TV almost every day, and you're talking about all the important issues, the stuff that Donald Trump does well, and what Kamala Harris does. I don't know. She's going to be on with Brett Baer on Fox News today. I keep watching her at every opportunity, whether it's Charlemagne the God or Oprah Winfrey. I haven't heard her say one thing. Lara, I swear to you, one thing that says to me, like the rapper said, this lady run the country. She's not prepared to run a Dunkin' Donuts.
No, and she certainly is not prepared to run a McDonald's, which is still up in the air as to whether or not she ever worked there. But I digress. But that's the problem. Look, and I think, Sid, the fact that you have Kamala Harris, who has run a basement strategy, that's the whole campaign. They're running the same plays that they ran with Joe Biden 4 years ago. They had COVID to cover them 4 years ago. They have no reason to cover them right now, which is a big problem they're having. They've been running a basement strategy, trying to keep her out of the public eye, trying to keep her away from interviews because they know she cannot answer these questions. Let's be honest about something. If you are struggling to fake it through an interview, a 60 minutes interview that they got to splice together and edit, answers to questions you actually didn't even give to that question, all of the things that you see. If you're trying to fake it through an interview right now, how on earth can we as American voters trust you to sit across the table from Xi Jinping, from Vladimir Putin, from the Ayatollah in Iran, from Kim Jong-un of North Korea? We cannot. No one believes this woman has the capacity to be president. And quite frankly, Sid, I don't even think she does either. She talks in circles. She's barely hanging on to make it through these interviews. And the fact that you see her going on Fox News tonight at 6 o'clock, I hope everybody tunes in because it's going to be quite a show. I'll say that, I'm sure. Means that they know they are losing. You don't send Kamala Harris on Fox News if you're winning. Agreed. You don't send Tim Walz out, bless his heart, as we say in North Carolina. I know y'all know what that means in New York. You don't send him out there for this fake hunting situation they did to him this weekend where he couldn't even load a gun. Oh, my gosh, if you were winning. They know they're losing. That's it.
Oh, my God. They are definitely losing. There's no doubt about it. And you're right about Kamala, who yesterday, again, was talking about reparations. I mean, we got to stop with this nonsense. I'm begging you. But you talk about North Carolina, okay? And we know your father-in-law went down to Georgia a couple of weeks ago. The truth is we've been hit by 2 consecutive hurricanes that were both brutal. Helene and, of course, Milton in Florida last week. Far as I know, Lara, and you're a North Carolina girl, Wilmington, North Carolina, there's still like bodies in the trees in Asheville. I know my friend, for example, Scott Lebedo, coming up next, the Relentless Patriot. If you don't know him, he does all the paintings at the rallies. You know who he is. So he's actually
That's amazing.
Yes, he's going to North Carolina with a bunch of gift cards to help out these poor people that are struggling. But this administration, they did nothing. They're running out of money with FEMA because all the money goes to illegals.
Well, and Sid, they would have you believe that these are two different buckets of money. I'm sorry, if a single dollar of taxpayer money goes to anyone who broke our laws to come here, and American citizens cannot get more than a $750 loan, Sid, this isn't even money that they're getting. It's a loan that they've got to pay back. Then something is epically broken in this country. We've paid over $1 billion for people resettling them, rehoming them, sending them all over the country who are breaking our law to come to America. It is taxing every system we have, our educational system, our healthcare system, our first responders, all of it. It is so bad for America. And the fact that they want us to believe, this administration, that somehow these are 2 different buckets of money, give us a break. Americans are not that stupid, and you're right. It is so bad what has happened in Western North Carolina. There is still recovery ongoing, which is why, honestly, we wanted to go directly there and help out in whatever way we can in terms of donations from the campaign. We've tried to stay away because we know they're still doing recovery efforts. I was actually in Western North Carolina. I was just west of Charlotte yesterday with our Women for Trump tour. We were there on a bus. We brought all kinds of canned goods and non-perishable items, blankets. We donated them to a food bank, so that food bank will actually take those and help out the citizens of the western part of the state. It is absolutely tragic what has happened, but the response from this administration is so insulting to the American people and absolutely ridiculous at that.
God bless you for what you did yesterday. That's beautiful. I do want to talk about the safety issue. You and I had this conversation before. Genuinely concerned about Donald Trump's safety. I know I am. I know you are. There's a couple of stories that broke today. One, that Trump is using decoy planes, so people can't figure it out. And the other, don't forget, Lara, I sent you pictures of me and Bibi last week. I was in Israel, and Israel is about to open up a can of whoop ass, I think, on Iran. And I know that Trump has requested military aircraft and vehicles because Iran has also threatened his life, like these lone guys that we saw in both Florida and Butler, Pennsylvania. So clearly it's a concern, your father-in-law's safety. What are your thoughts on all that?
Yeah, well, this has been a concern of ours, for a long time, Sid. I think that I would be lying if I said any of us in the family felt, great about things all the time. And for years now, we've said, gosh, let's see what they've done. They've impeached him. They've indicted him multiple times, a mug shot. What's left to do to this man? accept the worst possible thing. And I know we saw that on July 13th in Butler, Pennsylvania. I know you had another situation, obviously at the golf course down in Palm Beach. But it is always concerning, and it's always in the back of our minds. And you're right to bring up Iran. Iran has made it very clear they want to interfere in this election in whatever way they can. And let's be honest, they want Kamala Harris desperately to be the president of the United States. They know how weak she is. They know how ineffective she is. They know how inept she is. And they know with Donald Trump in the White House, they are not going to get away with the things that have happened over the past 4 years. They know when Donald Trump was in the White House that they were drained of money, that they were broke. They had no ability to fund these terrorist organizations like Hamas, like Hezbollah. They had no ability to do the things like we saw happen, God forbid, on October 7th in Israel. It was an absolute tragedy, and it did not need to happen. So they're hoping to see Kamala Harris in that White House. But I can tell you what I've seen over the past month or so within the Secret Service with the protective detail that my father-in-law has around him. They really have stepped up their game. I think they're doing a great job. I think maybe they had to be awakened a bit on July 13th as well. Yep. But listen, it will never stop being something we think about. This is my father-in-law. This is my family. This is the grandfather to my two children. Wow. And I will always think about it. I will always worry about him forever.
Beautiful kids you've got too, Lara, by the way. Great kids. The way, you do, they're adorable. On the way out, the fundraising, I know we're down to 19, 20 days. I don't know how that works. Does it still continue? Are folks still donating money? I think they are, to the Trump campaign. And if they still want to donate, give everybody the website again, the address, and all the good stuff too. Early voting too. What's the best way to do that?
Yeah, well, if you want to find out whether or not you're registered to vote, there's still time to register in a lot of states. And where to vote early, again, we want you to go vote early. Don't go vote alone. Take somebody with you. You can find out all that information at swampthevoteusa.com. Again, swampthevoteusa.com. That's a campaign website. We set it up. We'll have all the information in every state, and you can identify exactly how to go do it in your area there. But you're right, Sid. Look, campaigns need money to run. We need to get out the vote in every state. This is now the time our ground game kicks into full drive, and, we really need the money to send our people out, to get signs out to people, to knock on more doors. DonaldJTrump.com. If you want to donate anything, we would love to have you. We know the big donors out there are trying to support Kamala Harris on the left, and we have to outpace them on the right, and we need to do everything we can to make sure Donald Trump is back in that White House. Our country depends on it. The world depends on it right now. And I want to say thank you to everybody who's already donated. I'm sorry we send you constant emails. I'm sorry we send you so many texts. We want to remind you how important this election is. Don't go vote alone. Go vote with a friend. Go vote early. And let's make this thing, Sid, too big to rig. Let's swamp the vote. And let's make sure we get Donald Trump elected as our 47th president 20 days from today. I can't wait.
Me too. SwampTheVoteUSA.com and DonaldJTrump.com to donate to our guy today. I'm going to see you and Eric in New York, yes?
I'm going to see you there, my friend. I can't wait.
Me too. Well, listen, great job here today. As always, I love you. And the best to your husband and family as well. It's crunch time, but I think we've got a big, big celebration coming up in a couple of weeks. But before that, I'll see you at Madison Square Garden next Sunday. Thank you, Lara.
You are the best. Thank you.
Look who's talking. Come on now, Lara Trump. You're the best. Thank you. That is the great Lara Trump, of course, the president's daughter-in-law, the co-chair of the RNC. They don't come better than Lara Trump.
Your time and expertise are valuable, making Focus one of the most important resources to have at work. These days, professionals spend nearly half the work week on written communication, and it can be difficult to stay on task with all the emails and documents you have to get through. With Grammarly as your AI writing partner, you can stay focused and quickly get through your work with relevant real-time suggestions wherever you write. It works across 500,000 apps and websites, so it can help with everything, from brainstorming presentation ideas to sounding more confident and persuasive in emails and reports. For 15 years, Grammarly has offered best-in-class communication support and enterprise-grade security on a business model that doesn't sell your data. 93% of professionals report that Grammarly helps them get more work done. Download Grammarly for free at Grammarly.com/podcast. That's GRAMMARLY.com/podcast.